right. So the main point of this exercise is to learn how to use the cropping tool, and to use the cropping tool to reimagine the edges of the composition. It's particularly to use the rule of thirds, the cropping tool, as a guide to thinking about the image in terms of thirds. The author gives a few suggestions and possible ways that one could crop it on pages 78 and 79 of the book. I'd like you to start just by playing with the cropping tool, selecting the cropping tool in the menu, and starting in the upper left and dragging it down like a marquee tool. And then experimenting a little bit with how it functions. It always will redraw little wireframes that will divide your image up into thirds. So it's a handy tool for imagining your image in terms of thirds, especially if there's reasons to really formally think about that. So, for example, in this case, I'm looking at the seaweed taking up 2/3 of the picture, the dogs taking up 1/3 of the picture, and then each dog in 1/3 of the space on the top. If you're not happy with your crop, you can keep on fooling around with it by dragging the wireframe edges around back and forth. If you are contented with your crop and you're ready to crop it, you just double click and you have eliminated the edges of the pixel. So you see this is very different from Illustrator. In this case, I'm looking back and saying maybe I should have gotten rid of some of this stuff on the top. So you can go back and do it again. Okay. And I might say, this is fine, I'm going to save this image, in which case you would save it as changing its name slightly, adding that it's cropped. It's always a good idea to save your original images with Photoshop. It's just a good idea to keep your originals all the time so that you can go back to them if you ever need to. There's a dummy dialog box that comes up sometimes when you save things. It says maximize compatibility. You can say okay. You can also select don't show again. Okay, what if you didn't really like this though? What if you need to go back? It's not so easy to undo in Photoshop. Undo does not work forever like with Illustrator. So there's another panel that I will show you right now called History, which gives you another option to undo the work that you've done and retreat into a previous version. Select under Window, you can select History, and the History panel will let you back up quite a bit. It usually gives 20 options. It'll let you back up into all of the different things that you've done, so you can see all of my earlier selections. Window, History, and there it is. So now I'm going back to before I cropped, and if I wanted to, I can go back and try another crop, for example. Not so good. But if I wanted to do that, double click, and then I would go save, and maybe I would say cropped too.